Hey, everybody, it's Alfred Jr. of the Metropolitan Report, the podcast that talks about any and everything New York Mets. And we're back with another Metropolitan Report short. And I'm I'm not happy right now. I mean, yes, this weekend, the Mets took care of the Marlins. They won the series. They won 2 out of the 3 games they played. They won the home opener Friday. They won Saturday. But yesterday was a bit of a struggle, and we got to talk about one individual in particular. And this is not the first time he struggled this season. I know it's only been a small sample size so far. This gentleman has only had 2 starts on the mound, but Carlos Carrasco, oh my goodness, Carlos Carrasco not playing well at all, not pitching well at all. Carlos Carrasco in the 7-2 loss to the Marlins yesterday went 4 2/3 innings, allowed 6 runs on 6 hits, and walked 3 batters. And he allowed the 6 runs off of 2 home runs. He gave up 2 3-run shots. Carlos Carrasco struggling. He is now 0-2 on the year with an 11.42 ERA. And Carrasco got lit up by the Brewers. He was a human pinata yesterday at home in front of the home faithful in Flushing. And what a way to spend an Easter Sunday. Carlos Carrasco not looking good. Now, the question that I want to pose is, what do we do with Carlos Carrasco? Of course, Justin Verlander's on the IL. He's getting ready to come off of the IL in about another week or so. His return is imminent. He did say he'll be back before the month of April is out. So maybe another week or two, Verlander comes back. And when Verlander comes back, somebody's got to get the boot. It's not going to be Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga is 2-0 with a 1.50 ERA. Not going to be Tylor Megill. Tylor is 2-0. David Peterson it remains to be seen how he's going to perform. He's only had 1 start so far. Max Scherzer shaky 1-1, but Max is the ace of the staff. You're not going to get rid of Max Scherzer at all. So Carrasco is the odd man out. Like I said, Senga's been good. Tylor's been good. Scherzer is Scherzer. He's going to hold his top spot in rotation. And then Peterson was only at 1 start, so it remains to be seen what happens with David Peterson. But if I'm Billy Epler, I'm going to move on from Carrasco if he has one more horrid start. 0-2 with an 11.42 ERA. That means when teams see him on the lineup card, they're going to be salivating at the mouth to take at bats against Carrasco. But like I said, somebody's gotta get the boot for Verlander to come back on the active roster. And it's funny to me, and I've said this before, but Tylor Megill was the guy who was on the outside looking in. Of course, David Peterson had a better spring than Megill, but now Megill has become a magician of sorts in the regular season. And to think he was a guy who was going to be the opening day starter in Syracuse, and now he's the guy you can't get rid of in the rotation. But Carrasco, I was live yesterday at Citi Field. I saw Carrasco pitch, and this is not the same Carlos Carrasco that was a Cleveland Indian. Carlos Carrasco looked very shaky, did not look confident in his pitches. And I noticed one thing: if you go back and watch the highlights of yesterday, not even just the runs that were scored, but even a lot of the outs. Carrasco is a guy who relies on contact to get outs. A lot of balls were put in the air yesterday, a lot of fly ball outs. Some of those outs, a lot of those outs caught on the warning track. Every time I heard a crack of a bat, I got scared because I thought somebody else was going to go yard. But Carrasco struggling, not looking in form. You would have thought Carrasco sat out of spring training the way that he was just throwing lollipop pitches, I'll call them. He left a lot of his breaking stuff hanging. This is not a Carlos Carrasco that I've come to know over the years as a pitcher. But like I said, I believe the Mets, if he has one more horrid start in the time that Justin Verlander's still in the IL, when it's time for Verlander to come back, get rid of Carrasco. He's got to go. If I'm Buck and I'm Epler, I have him on a very short leash. You can't even get 5 innings out of the guy. Like it's bad. If the starter can't go 5 innings, that's bad. That's very, very bad. So, like I said, the Mets are in a win now mode, and we can't carry anybody who's not being productive. Carlos Carrasco now back to back, two terrible starts. Again, an ERA of 11.42, just disgusting. And Carrasco, maybe he just doesn't have it anymore. And you know what's funny? If you watch yesterday's game against the Marlins, you can tell he just didn't have it from the very first pitch he threw. Poor location, breaking pitches not breaking. Carrasco not pitching with confidence, and I think that the opposition, when they step to the plate and they see Carrasco and they see what he's throwing, they can tell that he's not confident in the pitches he's throwing. And sad to quote Tom Seaver on this particular instance, but it just doesn't look like there's any more competitive pitches in that arm. You would think Carrasco was an over the hill veteran right now, the way he's been looking, but I mean I could be wrong. I mean it is early in the season. There are just two starts to look at this season from Carrasco, but again, if I'm Epler and by the time Verlander's ready to come back, if Carrasco's had another poor start like that, he's got to go. Darren Ruff didn't even make it to see opening day with this team because he wasn't productive in spring training. Carrasco's not productive in the first month of the season. He's got to go. DFA him. I'm sure some team will take him. Carlos Carrasco will have a place in the league. Maybe he could go pitch in Colorado, or he could land in Washington, somewhere not competitive. Maybe the Oakland A's might open up a spot for him, but he continues to pitch like this, he'll be pitching his way out of Flushing. And again, if I'm Billy Epler, now granted, Billy Epler's put all his previous stop with the Angels. He put all that talent on the Angels: Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Shohei Ohtani, and they can't seem to win anything. So that might tell you everything you need to know about Mr. Epler. But if I'm Epler, Carlos Carrasco's got to go. He's got to go. Like I said, give him one more start. If he can't bounce back, forget wins and losses in the column. If he can't pitch a game without being a pinata, he's got to go. It's nice knowing you, Carlos. Other than that, the Mets lose 7-2. Even the offense was flat yesterday. The Mets, I noted on Twitter, the Mets just seemed like they didn't want it. The only RBIs they had in the game came off the bats of Pete Alonso and Francisco Alvarez. Alvarez getting his first RBI of the season. He went 1-for-4. But the Mets, you could tell by their body language, and the energy that they came out there with, they simply just didn't want it. Not at all. But I'm not concerned about the offense because every high-octane offense or every successful offense is going to have that one game where they just run out of steam. Look at the Atlanta Braves yesterday. The Braves are everybody's pick to walk out of the NL East this year, and they went up flat. They lost 10-2 to the San Diego Padres, who play the Mets later tonight. And that's another thing. If this pitching doesn't wake up and the Mets offense doesn't wake up, then we might be in for a rude awakening against a red-hot Padres team led by Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Juan Soto, and the ageless wonder himself, the boomstick Nelson Cruz. They just had fun beating up on Atlanta last night. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. But again, Mets offense very flat. I still believe that Francisco Alvarez is too soon for him to be up here. Yes, he got the RBI single, but his other three at-bats were horrid. 2 strikeouts, including one where he swung at a pitch in the dirt that took him down to one knee on the swing. Defense also questionable. The Marlins tested his arm. They stole several bases, and there were some errant throws out of the arm of Francisco Alvarez. But nonetheless, I'm not concerned about the Mets offense, but I am concerned about the performance of Carlos Carrasco. again, from my vantage point, he just looks like he doesn't have any more competitive pitches left in that arm of his. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another Metropolitan Report short. Of course, the Metropolitan Report podcast, full episodes released every Wednesday here on YouTube. Of course, you can follow the Metropolitan Report at _Metropolitan_Report on Instagram and Mets Report Pod on Twitter. And you can follow the Grid Network, a great network of sports content, at the Grid, GRYD_network on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, everybody, it's been Alfred Parsard Jr., and the only thing left to say is, let's go Mets.